Welcome to the Outer Banks Arboretum and Teaching Garden, a small, quiet area created to provide the community with horticultural education. Here, you can find the Master Gardeners, a group of trained volunteers who routinely hold events and presentations at the Arboretum.
My name is Chris Stoddard. I'm a Dare Extension Master Gardener volunteer. Isn't this beautiful? This is absolutely gorgeous. I love to come here and just sit, and it's nice and quiet, and you hear the birds, and the azaleas are blooming. It's a great place to be at this time of year. All azaleas are in the rhododendron genus. What we have here is a hybridized cross. This is called Formosa. They're easy to grow. They get 7 to 10 feet tall. Some others we have are the Encore series. They bloom later than the South Indica variety. Okay, so they'll just be coming into bloom when these are almost finished. The azalea flowers usually last about 2 to 3 weeks. Other types of azaleas that will do well on the Outer Banks are the Piedmont azalea, and it can grow 10 to 15 feet tall, but it's popular because the flowers have a fragrance. Okay, another one, the Alabama azalea, is more of a low-growing azalea. It's white, all right? There's no other colors, just white, but it again has a smell to it. And then finally, the one that'll grow here is the Florida azalea. And that gives you a little hint there. The Florida azalea can withstand some heat tolerance, and it's great along the coast. You want to have healthy, vigorous growing plants. So there's a couple things you have to take into consideration. Some of those are planting site and also soil, okay? Azaleas, of course, prefer cool, shady areas, filtered by trees. It's a great time for them. The flowers last longer in partial shade than in full sun. And, you know, like I talked about the Florida variety, that can tolerate a little sun, but they also like to be given a little shade in the afternoon and protected from the drying winds. Azaleas like acidic soil, like 4.5 to 6.0. Azaleas like moist, but they don't like wet roots. So you gotta make sure it's raised up a little bit so that their roots aren't always in moisture. You can plant them in warm weather, but this requires them to be watered at least twice a week for at least the first year, because it needs to get established, and the heat is going to really dry it out and everything else. So it can be done, and a lot of people do it and it works well, but it needs a little more care. Pruning azaleas. There are 2 methods you're going to be using: thinning and heading. You need to go out there and look at your azaleas at least once a week, especially in the spring when spring growth begins. Let's talk about insect and diseases. I was looking through all these azaleas, and there's a couple lace bugs on the bottom of the leaves, but they're not enough to worry about or to use an insecticide on. Because remember, azaleas do offer food for the pollinators. Okay, diseases, root rot and crown rot. The first symptom, of course, is wilting. My first thing when you see a wilted plant is, hey, it needs water. Don't do it. Check the soil, you know, because who knows why it's wilting, and it may be something you can avoid. But once those symptoms start, there's nothing, no fungicide to help prevent it. They've not been proven very effective. Okay, what I would suggest is walk through. There's a lot of things going on in the demonstration garden, but enjoy.
Hello, my name is Sarah Haig. I'm a Dare County Extension Master Gardener volunteer. We're here today at the Outer Banks Arboretum and Teaching Garden in our demonstration garden area. And in this area we have several different gardening beds that show some of the plants that do well here on the Outer Banks. We have an annuals bed that will highlight plants that can be put into a mass planting and that look well together, that have similar watering needs, and that give a lot of color over the summer months. We also have a water-wise garden. This is a bed that has no irrigation, plants that like dry, hot conditions. So you'll see a lot of succulents, special ornamental grasses, cacti, plants that can really tolerate lack of water. Another feature here in our demonstration garden is our turf grass demonstration area. 6 different turf grasses growing here. You'll be able to kind of see how well they do at different times of the year. Most of our grasses are warm season grasses, which means they are actively growing from May until, say, October. They will then brown out and look dormant over the winter months. In addition to those beds I've highlighted, we have examples of perennials, herbs, and ground covers that do well in this setting. We have a lovely sensory garden with plants that have aromas, nice textures, a wonderful place for children or someone who wants to really get up close to the plant to get a feel for how they smell and feel. Another important part in this section of the Arboretum is our dune garden. Here we illustrate grasses that help to stabilize sand dunes. So we have one dune with sea oats and American beach grass, bitter panicum, plants whose root systems help sand dunes stay in place. And then we highlight several other kinds of ornamental grasses that differ by their color, their seeds, their height, the times of year they're most beautiful.
The Arboretum and Teaching Garden has something to offer to everyone. Whether you come to hone your gardening skills and learn something new, or to take a stroll through the winding path and experience the beautiful scenery. Come visit today, located right next to the Baum Center in Kill Devil Hills.